And it's time again for another installment of The Basics. And this is going to be the first of two in a row where I talk about side decks in the Star Trek customizable card game. Now, side decks came about during one of the expansions called the Q-Continuum, which let players have a side deck where they could stock it with power cards and other good cards they could bring out during the course of the game or force their opponent to hit on the space line. So, let me get to it and I'll explain to you how side decks work in the Star Trek CCG. When the ability to use side decks first came out with the Q-Continuum expansion, it added a whole new dynamic to the game. Years ago, in high school, when I had a couple friends that played Star Trek CCG, and we played quite regularly at school, after school. One of my friends was quite fond of the side deck. He couldn't seem to construct a playable deck without the side deck, but it had its uses. It did change the game. It added a lot of fun, but if you were on the receiving end of some of the cards, you were quite frustrated. Now, there's a couple ways to bring out the Q-Continuum side deck. The first is the doorway card called Q-Flash. Normally, you would place this atop your Q-Continuum side deck during the seed phase. So that would open the side deck right there. So once you move into the regular gameplay, it's fair game. Or you can seed it under a mission like a dilemma. So the opponent hits that, and they now have to face X amount of cards like a dilemma, but from your Q-Continuum side deck. You can also stock the Q-Flash in your deck and use it to nullify other Q-related cards or side deck variants, which came in handy if you were playing against someone that had the side deck. So you'd want, even if you did have your own Q-Continuum side deck, you'd want to stock 3 or 4 of these Q-Flashes. The Q's 10th doorway is another way to open the side deck. You place it on top of your side deck during the seed phase. You can't have more than 13 cards in your side deck. Or you can stock it in your main deck and you can play it as a card from your tent, either your choice or a random selection, but then you would discard it after you show your opponent, and then you wouldn't necessarily have to draw any cards at the end of the turn. Not the best option. I prefer the Q-Flash way. You're probably wondering what kind of cards you'd want to have in your side deck, because you can bring them out faster than you normally would. I'll give you an example of the Q side deck in my Federation deck, because it's one of my few decks that has a side deck. I have engaged shuttle operations, so I can launch shuttlecraft and small craft from my ships whenever I want. Captain's log. So if you have, say, for example, in my deck, I have the Enterprise E with the matching captain, which is Captain Picard. So that automatically raises my shields and weapons attributes by +3 each. Very good card to have, especially if you're going to be under attack or are under attack. Kevin Uxbridge Convergence destroys all event cards in play at one location. Gotta have that, especially in a side deck. You can bring it out quickly. A shuttlecraft, as I mentioned before with the Engaged Shuttle Operations card, comes in handy. Because this is a heavy-hitting Federation deck, I have the ultimate personnel, Captain Kirk. He is an alternate universe icon card, but I have other cards in this deck that can help bring him out. This comes in huge, especially in a side deck. Leadership ×2, I can download another Captain's Log card to upgrade my ship, especially if you're serving on Constitution or Enterprise. And I can initiate battle against anybody I want. Normally Federation cannot do that, they can only defend. The band combo of Supernova and Tox-Utot, yes, I keep those in this side deck. No, I don't take this deck to tournaments. But if I'm going to play against somebody, especially house rules with a side deck, I'm going to destroy them. Q2, because this will nullify any Amanda Rogers, Kevin Uxbridge, or Q-related dilemma. Huge card to have, especially if someone has dilemmas that are loaded with Q. Countermanda, because this will, as it says, it countermands certain cards. Temporal Rift will make an enemy ship disappear. I always have an extra rescue to bring back an event card, or regenerate another card. Q's 10, and always an extra one in there to stop personnel. And last but not least, my space-time portal doorway to help me with the side deck bring out cards like Captain Kirk that I just showed you. So that is what you can do with the power of the Q deck. Now, I'm not saying that the Q side deck is the be-all and end-all. Yes, it has the potential to be extremely powerful, especially with the cards that I showed in mine in this very side deck. I have played a heavy-hitting deck, like my Federation deck, that has taken a beating even though I had the side deck. It's not so much about what you have in your side deck, but it's cards you already have in your main deck, because the side deck is meant to complement your main deck and add surprises and a new dynamic to the round. The side deck can be beaten, so you have to really research what cards to put in your side deck and when to bring them out. That is the main thing with side decks, is when to use those cards. That's all for this one. Coming up on the next episode, I will get you into the Battle Bridge side deck. Take care, everybody.